Please recite another Surah Fatiha for Marhooma Shahida Jaffri. Surah Fatiha, Bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الفاسفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما قل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا صلوات الله محمد وعلى السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. Before I begin, condolences to the family of Dr. Jaffri for the loss that they have suffered, a loss of a mother, a loss of grandmother for some, and of course, an irreplaceable loss in the lives, regardless of how old or young a person may be. Mother is your refuge. Mother is someone who you run after when all the doors are closed for you. Mother is someone, regardless of what you have done, good or bad, she embraces you. Mother is someone who overlooks your mistakes and your shortcomings. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her that responsibility of tarbiyat, of awlad, and provided insan from the fruits of the mother. As I will, inshallah, towards the end, mention what our fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin ﷺ, has mentioned about the right of a mother. And at that point, it will become apparent to us and clear to us, especially those of us who are still blessed with our mothers and they're still alive. Well, the riwayat that emphasize on the fact that how easy it is for one to ask Allah for the forgiveness of their sins with the virtue of their mothers. And a person came, and you've heard this many times in Eesal Sawab, saying to Rasulullah that I've done so many sins. Rasulullah said, is your mother alive? He said, no. Is your father alive? He said, yes. He said, go serve your father and ask for repentance. He went back, and then Rasulullah turned to his companion and said, had his mother been alive, this matter would have been a lot easier for him. If his mother was alive, it would have been easier for him to absolve all the sins that he has committed. Because the rizayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the rizayat of a mother. And the proof of that is in the time of a prophet, when a young man who was on his deathbed, but his nafs would not separate from his body. And there was a lock on his tongue where he could not utter Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. They called Rasulullah. He came and he said to that man, repeat after me. But he wasn't able to say it. Rasulullah said, is his mother here? They said, yes, his mother is right here. Rasulullah turned to him and said, forgive your son. She said, no, I can never forgive him for the thing that he had done to me. Rasulullah said to her that if you don't forgive, his soul will not separate from his body, and he will suffer like this. She said, if you know what he had done to me throughout his life, you would stand by me saying, no, I should not forgive him. Rasulullah said, okay, then gather some wood and put a fire on it and throw him into that fire. The love of mother came about. She said, no, I can't allow my son to be burned right in front of my eyes. Rasulullah said, if you don't forgive him, then he will burn in the hereafter. Right away, she said, I'll forgive him. The moment she gave her forgiveness, her razayat and her satisfaction, Allah was razi with this man. He was able to utter the shahadatain and he peacefully left this world. So here we understand the importance of a mother. The why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this human being, where Imam also speaks about the generosity, the altruism, Eesal, and ability to give everything up for their children. That's why the dua of parents in the haqq of their children is rarely rejected. Why? Because when parents make dua for their children, they make it out of khulus. They do it out of sincerity. There's nothing attached. But that's not the case vice versa. Person came to Prophet, he said, oh Rasulullah, I take care of my old mother. She's elderly. I clothe her, I bathe her, I feed her. And I even carried her on my shoulders in performance of Hajj and Umrah. Have I paid the dues as far as her rights are concerned? Rasulullah responded by saying, not even for that one moment she carried you in her womb. Not even for that one moment. He said, Rasulullah, she carried me for 9 months. I've been carrying her for many years now. She provided for me for the first few years of my life. I've been providing her for the past 10 years, for example. I've done things for longer than she did for me. Have I not paid back to the rights of my mother? Rasul said, not even for a moment that she was taking care of you. And then look and listen to the dalil that Rasulullah gave. He said, how so? Now, of course, this man was not arguing with Rasulullah. He said, how so? Rasulullah responded by saying that when you take care of your mother, you do it with the element of Sawab in your mind. When your mother was taking care of you, there was no element of Sawab in it. She was doing purely for you. That's the difference. You're doing as an obligation, but also because there's Sawab. If I take care of my mother, I'll get a lot of Sawab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's this tama, lalach, greed, and that's why you're taking care of her. But when she did the same for you, it was purely for you. Khalisatan, without any strings attached to it. And then Rasulullah gave another reason. He said, when your mother was providing for you, She was not counting days and nights that when will this all be over? And here's the difference. When you're providing for her, you're counting the days and the nights. How long will I have to take care of her? And that's the difference between the deed and the perspectives, for which Rasulullah said, you have not paid back for even that one moment that she carried you in her wombs. With this said, the ayat that I recited for you, Mashhur and Maruf ayat from Surah Bani Israel, chapter 17, ayat number 23. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ. It is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to worship anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And be kind to your parents. إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا. And when they get old, near you, be mindful of the word indaka, near you. I'll come back to it. When they grow old near you, one of them or both of them, what should you do? فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Don't even say the slightest of the annoyance uff to them. وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. Do not shun them away. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. And when you decide to speak to them, only speak with words that are noble words. Don't use anything less than noble words when you're addressing them. You think that Allah has spoken at the peak when He talks about the parents. Didn't end over there. This ayat might have ended 23, but ayat 24 goes even beyond that. He said, وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاهَ الظُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. And spread for them the wings of mercy. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. And make dua that Allah have mercy upon them the way they were merciful to me when I was young. Now both of these ayat require in-depth analysis. Understanding of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about over here. I'll speak about that, and inshallah I'll bring you to Imam Zainul Abidin's the rights of our mother. Here it should have been what? When Allah says it is wajib upon you to worship Him and no one else, what should have come next to it? With the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nubuwwat should have been the next thing. After nubuwwat, what should have been next? Imamat should have been right after that. Qiyamat should have been right there. But instead of mentioning anything along with the wajib ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah mentions وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. If you speak of Tawheed, which is a very broad circle, because not only Muslims believe in Tawheed, other Ahl Kitab believe in Tawheed as well. The Shias and the Sunnis and the Christians and the Jews, they all have the concept of Tawheed. With this Tawheed, Allah encompasses many folk in the world. Still, we are in majority who are muwahhideen, who believe in one God. Allah encompasses all of them. What is the address to all of them? Worship no one but Allah. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And then, of course, at the same time, now that you are on board with worshiping me, be kind to your parents. Here, Mufassirin mentioned that when Allah talks about وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, Allah did not attach any strings to it. This word ihsan is without any qaid. It's absolute. Usually you have qaid, okay, when they are this, when they are that. No qaid was associated with it. There were no strings attached to it. So وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Both وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ is used in absolute sense, and the word ihsan is used in absolute sense. Pay attention to this very quickly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in other words, did not say وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ حَيَّيْنِ. Be kind to only the walidain that are alive. He said, no, Meaning what? Your duty to be kind towards your parents does not end the moment they close their eyes. You continue to be kind to them. There are many things that you can do even after their wafat to show your kindness towards them. One of the things that you can do after their hayat is what? Is to perform amal salihah on their behalf. Is to go ahead and give charity on their behalf. Is to go ahead and visit their friends on their behalf. That's one of the mustahabat. What should I do? Now that my father is no longer alive, I should go visit his friends. That will give him surur. That will make him happy. Now my son, in my absence, is visiting my friends whom I used to visit all the time. So the word walidain is used without any qaid. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ مُسْلِمَيْنِ No. Walidain mutlaq, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ مُؤْمِنَيْن No. Walidain, mu'min or غير mu'min. Muslim or غير Muslim. Hayat or غير hayat. Any situation that you could think of with walidain, you should be kind to them. And then now look at the word ihsan. Allah did not use anything associated with ihsan either. He didn't elaborate and explain to us what ihsan means over here. That means it's mutlaq, absolute. There's no qaid with ihsan either. Ihsan could be monetary. Ihsan could be by being with them. Ihsan could be by taking care of things that they used to like. Ihsan could be by taking care of people they used to like. All of these things fall under the category of ihsan. So therefore, here we understand how this ayat is using both of these words in absolute sense. But here is what I wanted to draw your attention to. Quran, on 4 occasions, tells us to be kind to our parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا 4 places. 4 places Allah is telling us to be kind to your parents. 1 would have been enough. 2 would have been sufficient. 3 would have been just fine. 4 times. Allah is emphasizing. You know, a lot of times we repeat things from the mimbar. So I've heard this before. You know, you need repetition. You need to hear it again. Because sometimes we forget these things. Allah on 4 occasions in Quran is saying, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And not a single place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the parents to be kind to your children. Not a single place in Quran. You won't find 1 occasion where Allah is saying to the parents, be kind to your children. But on 4 occasions, He tells children to be kind to your parents. In fact, to the contrary, on 6 occasions, I didn't bring the ayat. On 6 occasions, Allah tells the parents not to be kind to your children. Why? إِنَّمَا مَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ. Your wealth and your children are your test. إِنَّمَا مَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ عَدُوٌّ لَكُمْ. Your children and your wealth is actually your enemy. إِنَّمَا أَوْلَادُكُمْ, sometimes it says your awlad will take you towards Jahannam. These are the ayat of Quran. I'm just reading translation. So not a single place Allah says to the parents to be kind. In fact, if anything stops them from being too kind. No, don't be too kind to them. Don't be too kind to them. Don't give them too much. Don't give them everything. Because you'll spoil them. Stops them. Ayatullah Qarati, when he talks about the tafsir of this ayat, he gave an example. He said, why Allah is emphasizing to the children 4 times? And He never emphasizes to the parents to do the same thing? He said, when you're driving uphill, you need to push. You know, you step on your gas. But when you're driving downhill, you can let go of the gas. You can keep the car in neutral and it'll just drive on its own. He said, that's the relationship between parents and the children and the parents. When you're driving downhill, that's the relationship the parents have towards the kids. You don't need to give them any incentive. Automatically, they're going to provide for them. But when you're going uphill, you need to keep on reminding the children to be nice to your parents, to be kind to your parents, to provide for them. Not thinking that there is something of an ihsan that you're doing to them, but it's an obligation that you have upon you. Salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He said, Imma yablughanna indakal kibar. Indaka, I mentioned to you, pay attention to that. When they get old near you, did not say when they get old away from you. When they get old while you're not in their lives. No. You should always be in their lives, and they should grow old right in front of you. It doesn't necessarily have to be under the same roof, but near you. That's what's important over here. That your parents should grow old near you, not somewhere in some facility where you sometimes visit them, as it is common in this part of the world. Therefore, indaka is giving us an Islamic teaching of how we should care for elderly parents. But then comes the real akhlaq. He said, La taqul lahuma uffin. Don't even utter the smallest of the annoyance. You know, when you get annoyed with someone who's not understanding something, especially the children these days, they're very tech savvy. Your father might ask you, how do you open this thing? The children know how to open it. The children know how to work around the computer and the phones and the gadgets. Dad, I told you, this is how you do it. No, don't do that. وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Don't utter the smallest of the sigh of oath that you're annoyed with something that they're unable to understand. It's only common that you're understanding this, they can't. Because you are from this generation. So easily we get annoyed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want you to say even the two-letter word of. Riwayat mentioned if there was a word less than this, Allah would have mentioned that. Don't even say, oh, how come you're not understanding this? Oh, why are you not doing this? Oh, no, don't use that. This is not a hadith, brothers and sisters. This is the ayat of Quran and direct command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. And do not shun them away. And these are all what? Fail wajib or fail nahi. وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. Fail nahi. Don't. Meaning it's an obligation upon you. It's not a recommendation. It's an obligation. And when you do not act on this obligation, you're committing what? A grave sin. But if you want to speak to them, and you should speak to them constantly, regularly, on daily basis. Yeah, your work might take you away. You might go away on some work trips and you are unable to see your parents all the time. So you speak to them with these facilities that you have these days. قُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Anything but Qawl Kareem should come out of your tongues. Now it's very difficult for me to sit here and explain Qawl Kareem to you. We have Rasul Kareem, right? When you understand Rasul Kareem, you understand what should Qawl Kareem should be. Qawl Kareem is what Rasul Kareem used to say. So karamat and being honorable, showing honor to them. How do you speak to someone who's your boss, who's your above, who's someone you have to show respect? How do you address them? Kindly, with respect, with honor, with integrity, with reverence. But when it comes to parents, you shun them away. This is how you talk to them. وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا قُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. As I said, these instructions would have been sufficient. But Allah went beyond in the very next ayah. He said what? وَغْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ. Spread for them your wings of mercy. This is analogy. This is an example. Because you and I, as humans, we don't have wings, do we? We don't have any wings. Why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us wings of mercy? Of course, this is metaphorical use of this word. But even in this metaphorical use of it, let's analyze who has wings. The birds, right? The birds possess the wings. Now, of course, there have been incidents where some humans have been given wings as well, like the angels. Like Rasulullah said about Hazrat Jaffri Tayyar, that Allah had given him wings. And regarding Abul Fadl al-Abbas, because his two arms were cut off, he was given wings. And this is something which is mentioned in riwayat. But you and I don't have wings. Birds do. When birds have wings, and this is something which you all know, I don't need to sit here and talk about the nature. When the birds are flying high in the air, are their wings open or are they closed? They're open. They're flapping their wings, right? That's how they fly. So when you fly high, your wings are open. When they come down to the earth, literally, when they come down to the earth, do they keep their wings open or they close them? They close them. Maybe Allah is saying to us over here, you might be flying high with your post and your maqam. You might be a king of a place. You might be a president. You might be the lead top scientist. You might be marja taqleed of your time. But you're there when you're up there. When you come in the vicinity of your parents, close your wings. Don't show off to them. Or if anything, spread your wings so they step on it. Let them step on your wings. That's the respect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is intending as far as وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, wings of mercy. And then the last thing in this ayat, وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. This is a dua that you should continue to make for your parents. That Allah have mercy upon them the way they were merciful to me when I was young. बचपने में जैसे उन्होंने मेरा ख्याल रखा. When I was in need and I could not survive, they were there for me. They would take care of me. They would provide for me. Without their care, I would not have lived in a moment. They did all of that to me. Now what? Now they're old. Allah have mercy upon them the way they were merciful to me. If you want to receive the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's something for parents over here as well. Parents should take care of their awlad the way they want to be taken care when they are old. Whatever you do to your awlad when they're young, and you provide for them, and you show mercy to them, guess what? Will be given to you when you get old. A similar mercy will return to you. So this is the gist and the tafsir of these two ayat, which I presented for you with a loud nare salawat. Allahumma salli. Very quickly, what our fourth Imam has said about the rights of our mothers. Fourth Imam has this book called Sayf al-Sajadiya and another Risalatul Huquq. Risalatul Huquq is treatise on rights. In Saifa there are 54 du'as. In Risalatul Huquq there are 50 rights. This book is available online in your language, whether it be Urdu, whether it be English. Of course, original is in Arabic, Persian. It's been translated. Not only translation, but the commentary of this book is also available on alislam.org. All you got to do is type it in Google, treatise on rights, tafsir of it, commentary of it, book, and you'll see the results. I highly, highly recommend. Amongst those treatises on rights, where Imam ﷺ starts by speaking about the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the rights of our body, the rights of our nafs, the right of our eyes, the rights of our ears, the rights of our tongue, the rights of our arms and our legs, the rights of our neighbors, the rights of our friends, the rights of our parents, the rights of our subordinates, the rights of our imam, the rights of our muazzin. All of these rights are mentioned in it. Imam goes through, and it's not a lengthy discussion. Imam provides you the basic rights that have to be observed regarding every one of these individuals, maybe in 1 or 2 paragraphs, as he does about the most important figure in our life, our mothers. In 2 paragraphs, Imam talks about what are the rights of a mother. Imam begins by saying, وَأَمَّا حَقُّ أُمِّكَ أَن تَعْلَمْ أَنَّهَا حَمَلَتْكَ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْمِلُ أَحَدًا أَحَدًا. Ahadun ahada. He said, as far as the rights of your mother is concerned, know this, that she carried you when nobody was capable of carrying you. Nobody could carry you. It was your mother who took care of you, not only carrying you, but making sure that you remain safe and sound. Praying for you. That was another thing. She didn't have to. She was praying for you as well. But most importantly, she carried you. And we've already mentioned in the riwayat of our Prophet that you cannot even pay back for that one moment she carried you in her wombs. Imam continued by saying, وَأَطْعَمَتْكَ مِنْ ثَمَرَةِ قَلْبِهَا مَا لَا يُطْعِمُ أَحَدٌ أَحَدًا. She provided you from the fruits of her heart. She fed you, she nursed you when nobody could provide for you. Look at the mashiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And don't mind saying this, that the three sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are found in our mothers. Allah is Khaliq, but He creates us through our mothers. Allah is Raziq, but He provides our first nourishment through our mothers. Allah is Rabb, but He provides rububiyat and tarbiyat through our mothers. While you find these are the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He's Khaliq, that He's Raziq, that He's Rabb, but you find these three are being carried out by your mothers, that she is the one who's used as a vessel for your creation. She is the one who's used to provide and nurse you. She is the one who's used to do the tarbiyat of the awlad. So while these three sifat are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are given to no one but our mothers. Imam continues by saying what? فَرَضِيَتْ أَن تَشْبَعَ وَتَجُوءَ هِيَا. He said, if she would rather remain thirsty and hungry as long as you were fed. وَتَكْسُوكَ وَتَعْرَى. She would remain without clothes while she made sure that she provided clothes for you. وَتُرْوِيَكَ وَتَزْمَعَ. And she made sure that she quenched your thirst while she remained thirsty. وَتُزِلُّكَ وَتَضْحَى. She provided shelter for you while she remained without any shadows. And then Imam takes another extreme direction, in my view, when Imam says, وَتُنَعِّمَكَ بِبُؤْسِهَا وَتُلَذِّذُكَ بِالنَّوْمِ بِأَرْقِهَا. To comfort you with her suffering. Because not all the mothers will be in perfect health. But she was suffering, yet she made sure that suffering did not affect you. And then to lull you to sleep with her sleeplessness. How many of us can, allude to or to attest to that? That when children are young, how many sleepless nights did you have? Then you go through, you know that tomorrow you have to do this, tomorrow you have to go to work, but you're awake, you're going with the schedule of your children, young kids. So she went through many sleepless nights. So for today, if you have to sleep late because of her, today because she's sick and she's in hospital and you have to go visit her, and you'll be tired because you have to go to work tomorrow morning, don't worry about it. She had many sleepless nights for you when you were younger. And then Imam continues by saying, وَكَانَ بَطْنُهَا لَكَ وَعَاءً وَحُجُرُهَا لَكَ جَوَاءً. Her womb was your vessel, and her lap was your shelter, and her heart was your nourishment. وَتُبَاشِرُ حَرَّ الدُّنْيَا وَبَرْدَهَا لَكَ. And her life was your protection. She endured the heat and the cold of the world for your sake. And then Imam concludes over here. He said, you can never pay back the rights of your mothers. Imam gives us all the words that we need to know. Imam tells us what she has done for us. Imam tells us what your mother's haqq is upon you. But then Imam gives us this sentence at the end, that you won't be able to take care of the rights of your mother. He's already predicting it. Meaning it's impossible, except with the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah can give you the tawfiq to take care of it, yes, then it's possible. But without the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't think that you'll be able to go ahead and perform the rights and the duties that you have as far as your mother is concerned. Salawat bin Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Of course, there are many riwayat which highlight the importance of both the parents and the easiness and the ease of our deen. You know how easy this deen is? People thought this deen was very difficult. They think the difficulty of the deen is in praying 5 times a day. They think difficulty of the deen is fasting in the month of Ramadan. They think difficulty of the deen is doing tawaf and hajj and umrah and all that stuff. They consider these things to be difficult. No, deen is very simple. Deen is very easy. Deen has made your life easy, not complicated. You and I are making it complicated. You know how easy deen is? For you to be able to do ibadat, all you've got to do is look at the chehra and the face of your mother. And you've done the best of the ibadat. And these aren't my words. This is translation of a hadith. Prophet said what? He said, Man nazara ila walidayhi nazara rahmatin ala wa kutiba lahu hajjan mabrura. Whoever looks, whoever glances at their parents, especially their mothers, nazara rahmatin, a glance of rahmat, a glance of mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in lieu of that, will give you the thawab of hajj mabrur, not an ordinary hajj. Hajj which is accepted in the bargah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then on the contrary, Rasulullah said, Man nazara ila walidayhi nazara maqitin, whoever looks at and glances at their parents with nafrat, with grudge, and with adversity, he says what? Lam tuqbal salatuha. Salat is used over here as a symbol. Basically what Rasulullah is saying, Lam tuqbal ibadatuhu. Lam tuqbal, none of the ibadat will be accepted. Although Rasulullah said the word salat. He said, whoever looks at their parents with grudge and with nafrat, with hatred, with animosity, lam tuqbal salatuha. Salat is not accepted. Meaning what? None of the ibadat are accepted. Why? Salat imududdin. Salat is the pillar of the religion. Salat is the face of the religion. When salat is not accepted, in ruddat, ruddama siva, everything else is rejected. So look at how easy this deen is. All you've got to do for those who still have their parents alive, for those who still have their mothers alive. You want to do ibadat, the best of the ibadat tonight? All you've got to do is glance at the face of your mothers with respect and honor and mercy. And there you go. You've performed the best of the ibadat. Here you go. You'll have a hajj mabrur written on your records. How easy is this religion? How difficult we have made the religion? How easy is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making this religion for us? You want to do the best of the ibadat? You don't have to spend all night standing and worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All you've got to do is look at your parents with respect and honor. And that should be enough to earn that thawab ukhravi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, there's so much can be said about it. And there's so many things that can be uttered about it. And a mother, of course, as I mentioned, regardless of how old the mother be, she's still a refuge for all of us. मगर कुछ ऐसी माएं भी थीं कि जो इस दुनिया से बहुत जल्दी चली गईं. उन माओं में एक माँ है हसन और हुसैन की, जिसके लिए मिलता है कि शायद 18 साल का सिन था जब जनाब सैयदा इस दुनिया से रुखसत हुई. आप सोचिए, 18 साल का सिन, उस वक्त इंसान जिंदगी शुरू कर रहा होता है, और इधर एक ऐसी खातून है कि जो अपनी जिंदगी की आखिरी सांसें ले रही हैं. और ऐसा नहीं कि ये कोई ऑर्डिनरी खातून हो, ये खुद सैयदतुन निसाइल आलमीन है, ये खातमुल मुरसलीन की वाहिद बेटी हैं, ये सैयदुल औसिया की ज़ौजा हैं, ये सरदारान ने जन्नत की माँ है, ये ज़ैनब और उम्मे कुलसूम की माँ है. لیکن جناب سیدہ 18 سال کے سن میں اس دنیا سے رخصت ہو جاتی ہیں. یقیناً ہماری مائیں ہمارے لیے وقار اور ہمارے لیے سہارا ہوتی ہیں، اور چلے جانے سے ایک بہت بڑا خلا ہماری زندگی میں آ جاتا ہے. اس کو صرف وہی سمجھ سکتا ہے جس کی ماں اس کے سر سے اڑ گئی ہو اور نہ رہی ہو، صرف وہی سمجھ سکتا ہے. لیکن جب ہم اپنے غم میں اپنی ماں یا باپ یا چاہنے والے کے غم میں رو رہے ہوتے ہیں تو اس کے لیے اللہ نے بہترین جو مداوا کیا ہے نا، وہ ہے مداوا کہ جب آپ اہل بیت کے غم کا اظہار کریں، آپ اپنے غم کو اہل بیت کے غم سے ملا دیں، آپ اپنے غم کو اہل بیت کے غم میں ضم کر دیں تو آپ اپنے غم کو بھول جائیں گے. آپ کو یاد نہیں رہے گا کہ آپ نے کیا، آپ کا غم بھی کچھ چیز تھا. میرا کوئی غم تھا، میری ماں کا انتقال ہوا، جناب سیدہ کا بھی تو کا انتقال ہوا، اور ایسے نہیں انتقال ہوا، شہید ہیں وہ. اسی لیے جب کسی جوان کی وفات ہوتی ہے، کہ جو یقیناً جب کوئی شخص بڑی عمر میں جا کے اس دنیا سے گزرتا ہے تو لوگ انڈرسٹینڈ کر جاتے ہیں کہ بہرحال لمبی طول عمر پائی اور ساری خوشیاں ساری چیزیں دیکھیں. اب جا کے چونکہ نظام ہے دنیا کا، ہر ایک کو جانا ہے، کوئی بھی آب حیات پی کے نہیں آیا ہے، ہر شخص کو اس دنیا سے گزرنا ہے، اور یہ دنیا ہے ہی گزر جانے کی جگہ، دنیا گزرگاہ ہے. جیسے کسی حکیم نے بڑے خوبصورتی سے بیان کیا کہ دنیا ایک ٹرانزیشن ہے، اور اس ٹرانزیشن سے ہم سب کو جانا ہے. اس دنیا کو آپ تصور کریں ایک اسٹیشن کی مانند، بس اسٹیشن، ٹرین اسٹیشن یا ایئرپورٹ. ایئرپورٹ پہ جب آپ جاتے ہیں تو آپ کی کیا پہلی چیز ہوتی ہے کہ آپ اپنے گیٹ پہ پہنچ جائیں تاکہ آپ اپنے جہاز میں بیٹھ جائیں، آپ کا جہاز ٹائم پہ اڑ جائے تاکہ آپ اپنی ڈیسٹینیشن پہ چلے جائیں. اگر آپ کو ان نیسسرلی ایئرپورٹ پہ زیادہ دیر رکنا پڑ جائے کیونکہ آپ کی فلائٹ ڈیلے ہو جا رہی ہے، فلائٹ کینسل ہو جا رہی ہے، تو کتنا ناگوار گزرتا ہے. آپ ٹرین اسٹیشن پہ اسٹک ہو جائیں اور ٹرینز نہ آ رہی ہوں، جیم چل رہا ہو، آپ گاڑی میں اسٹک، آپ کسی بس اسٹاپ پہ اسٹک ہو جائیں، بس نہ آ رہی ہو، کسی ایسی جگہ جو اسٹاپ یا اسٹیشن کہلاتا ہے وہاں پہ ذرا سی زیادہ دیر رکنا پڑ جائے تو کتنا ناگوار گزرتا ہے. کیوں؟ ہمارے دماغ میں ہماری ڈیسٹینیشن ہوتی ہے. لہٰذا یہ دنیا بھی ڈیسٹینیشن نہیں ہے بلکہ یہ ٹرانزیشن ہے، اس سے گزر کے جانا ہے سب نے، تو لہٰذا اس کو اپنا مقر نہ بنا دو. ابو ذر سے جب پوچھا گیا نا کہ کیوں ہمیں تکلیف ہوتی ہے، why do we feel when we want to leave this world, why are we so attached to this world؟ ابو ذر نے جواب دیا لِأَنَّكُمْ أَمَّرْتُمُ الدُّنْيَا وَخَرَّبْتُمُ الْآخِرَةَ، اس لیے کہ تم نے دنیا کو تعمیر کر لیا ہے اور آخرت کو خراب کر دیا ہے. اور کون چاہے گا تعمیر شدہ گھر کو چھوڑ کے خراب شدہ گھر میں جانے کے لیے؟ کس کی کا جین چاہے؟ لہٰذا جب ہم گفتگو کرتے ہیں موت کا تذکرہ آتا ہے، ہماری مائیں یقیناً ہمارے لیے ایک سہارا ہوتی ہیں، لیکن جب وہ اس دنیا سے چلی جائیں، یقیناً مرحومہ جن کے تذکرہ ہم یہاں کر رہے ہیں آج، انہوں نے بڑی خدمتیں کی، انہوں نے اولاد کی بھی خدمت کی، انہوں نے کمیونٹی کی بھی خدمت کی. I'm sure بہت سارے لوگ اس کمیونٹی میں ان کو اپنی ماں کی طرح سمجھتے ہوں گے، ان کو اپنی ماں کا درجہ دیتے ہوں گے. وہ لوگ خاص کر کے جن کی مائیں ان سے پہلے چلی گئیں اس دنیا سے، وہ جب ان کو دیکھتے ہوں گے تو اپنی ماں کا تصور کرتے ہوں گے، اپنی ماں کی طرح سوچتے ہوں گے. اور کسی کو اپنی ماں کا درجہ دینا ایک بہت بڑی بات ہے، اور یہ شفقت ریٹرن میں یقیناً ملتی بھی ہوگی جس طریقے سے وہ پیش آتی ہوں گی. علمبردار تھیں جہاں تک مجھے یاد ہے کہ اتحاد رہے لوگوں میں، کمیونٹیز میں اتحاد رہے، بکھرنے نہ پائیں، ساتھ رہیں. جیسے زینب روز عاشور بچوں کو اکٹھا کر رہی تھی نا، جو تسبیح کے دانوں کی طرح بکھر گئے تھے، ویسی ان کی بھی ذات تھی کہ سب کو اکٹھا کر کے چلنا ہے، کوئی ناراض نہ ہو جائے، کوئی دور نہ چلا جائے، کوئی ہم سے بچھڑ نہ جائے. یقیناً وہ وقت آتا ہے جناب سیدہ کے اوپر بھی، 18 سال کا سن ہے، ادھر جناب سیدہ بابا کے سرہانے بیٹھی ہوئی ہیں، اور گریہ کر رہی ہیں. ایک دفعہ دق الباب ہوتا ہے، جناب سیدہ کہتی ہیں اے کھٹکھٹانے والے چلے جا، میرے بابا ابھی اس حالت میں نہیں ہے کہ تیرے بات سن سکیں. دوبارہ دق الباب ہوتا ہے، جناب سیدہ پھر وہی جواب دیتی ہیں. جب تیسری مرتبہ ہوا، رسول اللہ کی آنکھ کھلی، کہا اے بیٹی کیا مسئلہ ہے، کیا وجہ ہے جو تم غمگین نظر آتی ہو؟ کہا بابا آپ کی حالت یہ ہے، جہاں کنی کا عالم ہے اور ایک شخص ہے جو بار بار کھٹکھٹا رہا ہے، نہیں کیوں آپ کا پیچھا چھوڑ دیتا. میں کہہ رہی ہوں کہ چلے جاؤ بعد میں آنا، میرے بابا ابھی گفتگو نہیں کر سکتے. جناب رسول خدا کہتے ہیں بی بی یہ کوئی عام شخص نہیں ہے، یہ ملک الموت ہے، اس کو کہیں جانے کے لیے اجازت طلب نہیں کرنی پڑتی، لیکن ہاں تمہارے در پہ آنے کے لیے دستک دے رہا ہے. میں کہوں گا عظمت دیکھیے جناب سیدہ کے دروازے کی، کہ جہاں ملک الموت بھی اجازت لے کے آتا ہے، لیکن آئیے رسول اللہ کی وفات کے بعد سے چند ہی دن گزرے ہیں، یہی در ہے جناب سیدہ کا، جہاں ملک الموت کھٹکھٹاتا تھا وہاں پہ امتی دروازے پہ آگ لگا رہے ہیں، وہاں پہ امتی دروازے کو گرا رہے ہیں. جناب سیدہ نے پشت دروازے سے کہا اے لوگوں یہ وہی در ہے جہاں پہ تمہارے رسول یہ کہہ کے گزرتے تھے السلام علیکم یا اہل بیت النبوہ، اور اب تم اس گھر کو گرانا چاہتے ہو، اس در پہ آگ لگانا چاہتے ہو. آگ لگائی گئی، روایتوں میں ملتا ہے دروازے کو گرایا گیا، لیکن اس سے پہلے کہ دروازہ گرتا جناب سیدہ دیوار در کے درمیان کہتے ہیں کیل تھی اس دروازے میں جو جناب زہرا کی پسلیوں میں پیوست ہو گئی، اور اس کا پتہ کب چلا جب علی غسل دے رہے تھے جناب سیدہ کی وصیت کے مطابق، اے علی آپ ہی مجھ کو غسل دینا، آپ ہی میری تجہیز و تکفین کرنا. ادھر علی غسل دے رہے ہیں، ایک دفعہ چیخنے کی آواز سنی. جب باہر آتے ہیں لوگوں نے پوچھا ہے علی، اگر کوئی پوچھتا کہ دنیا کا سب سے زیادہ بہادر شخص کون ہے تو ہم کہتے بلا شبہ علی ابن ابی طالب، لیکن ہم نے آپ کی آواز سنی، چیخنے کی آواز آئی. اے علی کیا ہوا تھا؟ کہا جناب سیدہ ارے زہرا کا پہلو شکستہ دیکھو، پسلیاں چٹکی ہوئی تھی. آیت اللہ وحید پہ یوں پڑھتے ہیں یہ مصائب، کہتے ہیں اگر آپ کی انگلی چٹک جائے اور بار بار کسی جگہ ٹچ ہو تو کتنی تکلیف ہوتی ہے. سیدہ کا پہلو شکستہ ہے. 70 دن تک جب زندہ رہی رسول کی وفات اور دروازہ گرنے کے بعد سے ہر سانس پہ سیدہ کی جان نکلی ہوگی. اجرکم اللہ، خدا کسی غم میں نہ رلائے سوائے غم آل محمد کے. بس وہ وقت آتا ہے جناب سیدہ کی تجہیز و تکفین ہو گئی. اب جب تدفین کے لیے لے جانا چاہتے تھے، اس سے پہلے کہ لے جائیں علی نے اپنے بچوں کو بلایا، حلمو آؤ اپنی ماں سے ودا کر لو، ارے آؤ خدا حافظ کر لو. سارے بچے آ گئے سوائے امام حسین کے. جواب دیا حسین نے اے بابا میں جب تک نہ آؤں گا جب تک میری ماں ویسے نہیں بلائے گی جیسے مریم کو عیسیٰ ابن مریم نے بلایا تھا. بس یہ سننا تھا. روایت کہتی ہے ہاتھ کے بند کھلے، کفن کے بند کھلے تو ہاتھ بلند ہوئے، جس طریقے سے حسین کے ہاتھ روز عاشور سکینہ کو اپنی چھاتی پہ لٹانے کے لیے بلند ہوئے تھے، اسی طرح جناب فاطمہ کے ہاتھ بلند ہوتے ہیں. حسین قریب آتے ہیں، ماں سے لپٹ جاتے ہیں. کس قدر مشکل ہے یہ فراق. بس ایک دفعہ ندا آئی ہوگی، جواب آیا ہوگا کہ علی ان کو جگٹھا، ان کو جدا کر دو. عرش کے اوپر گریہ وزاری ہو رہا ہے. جناب سیدہ کو اس عالم میں رات کے اندھیرے میں خاموشی سے دفنا دیا گیا. میں کہوں کہوں گا اے سیدہ آپ کے پردے کا خیال کیا گیا، رات کی تاریکی میں دفنایا گیا، ان لوگوں کو آنے کی اجازت نہ دی جن سے آپ نے منع کیا تھا، لیکن آئیے کربلا میں دیکھیے، ارے زینب و ام کلثوم ہے، رات کی تاریکی نہیں ہے، دن کی روشن فضا ہے، پردہ چھن چکا ہے، سر پہ چادر نہیں ہے، اور علی اور بطول کی بیٹیاں نرغ آداب ہے۔ الا لعنت اللہ القوم الظالمین وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون انا للہ و انا الیہ راجعون۔ بار الہ ہمیں اس بات قبول فرما، ہم گناہ گار ہیں، ہمارے گناہوں سے درگزر فرما، ہمیں اہل بیت علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام کے نقش قدم چلنے کی توفیق عطا فرما، ہمیں ان کی تعلیمات پر عمل کرنے کی توفیق عطا فرما، ہمارے امام کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما، ہمیں ان کے اعوان و انصار میں شمار کر۔ ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم۔ ایک دفعہ سورہ فاتحہ کی تلاوت کر کے مرحومہ شاہدہ جعفری کی روح کو اصال کر دیں۔ بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔ ایاک نعبد و ایاک نستعین صراط الذین علیہم غیر المغضوب علیہم ولا الضالین۔ ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم۔